The trade has commenced. All right. So, um, if everybody can hear me okay, drop me one in the chat and we will get things underway. JC, it is good to see you. Hope you've been well. All right. Appreciate it. Let's head over to beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, let's head over to trading economics. Get a quick look at the top things for the day, and then we will dive into the charts. All right, China. We've been talking about this. We've been waiting on this, and they've been doing some work from a stimulus perspective, but Q1 GDP tops estimates. Um, Outlook dims. We'll see. But Chinese economy expanded to 5.4% year on year in Q1, maintaining the same pace as in Q4. um, and exceeded market expectations of 5.1%. It remained the strongest annual growth rate in a year and a half amid Beijing's ongoing stimulus. The latest GDP readings were also buoyed by robust March activity. Industrial output rose at its fastest pace since June 2021. Retail sales posted the highest gains in over a year. Uh, and the survey jobless rate eased from a 2-year high. Fixed assets also slightly surpassed expectations in the first quarter. On the trade front, exports recorded the strongest growth since October as firms accelerated shipments ahead of the looming tariffs, while a drop in imports narrowed. The Statistics Bureau said the Chinese economy was off to a good and steady start, highlighted the growth as the growing role of innovation. However, intensifying trade tensions with the U.S. have quickly darkened the outlook, increasing pressure on Beijing to roll out additional support measures. Right on that tariff talk, Donald Trump said that China has to make a deal. China came back and said they don't have to make a deal. They're willing to talk if the United States government shows some respect, and they'll be respected in said meetings. So we'll see where the conversation goes. Um, but right now, it's kind of a back and forth standstill. They also requested some representatives to handle the negotiation opposed to Donald Trump himself, that can speak on behalf of him. So we'll see how that goes. But that's the happenings out of China. You got inflation rate out of the UK. Annual inflation rate in the UK slowed to 2.6 in March from 2.8 in February and below market in the BOE forecast of 2.7. The largest downward contribution came from recreation and culture, mainly games, toys, and hobbies, data processing equipment. Uh, Transport also contributed to a slowdown, largely due to the 5.3% fall in motor fuel prices. In addition, prices rose less for restaurants and hotels, uh, the lowest since July 2021. Mostly accommodation services, housing and utilities, and food and non-alcoholic beverages. In contrast, the most significant upward contribution came from clothing and outerwear, with prices usually rising in March as spring fashion continues to enter the shops, right? Compared to the previous month, the CPI edged up 0.3%, slightly below both the previous month's increase and expectations. Okay, so we got slowing inflation overall coming out of the UK. Talked about this a bit yesterday, with the expectation of them cutting rates. Um, so that is that. Germany, yield on Germany's 10-year bond fell to 2.5%, the lowest level since early March, as investors sought a refuge in German debt. Europe's benchmark safe haven asset, German debt, Europe's benchmark safe haven asset, amid escalating global tensions. At the same time, a demand for U.S. Treasuries weakened, reflecting a waning confidence in the American assets. Then he talked about this uh, a bit on Saturday. Um, the yield spread between U.S. and Germany 10-year bonds also around 1.8%, is around 1.8 percentage points. Excuse me, the highest since February, when expectations of the increase in fiscal spending in Europe's and Germany's election results had lifted the bund yields. Meanwhile, a European central bank is widely expected to deliver a 25 basis point rate cut on Thursday. Um, Market participants will be closely watching for guidance on how policymakers assess the trade conflicts impact on the Eurozone economy and the path for interest rates going forward. All right, so expect another cut out of the Eurozone, but the big thing is going to be, what does trade look like? What impact on the tariffs, and what's the path? Okay. So we're getting some of the pricing in of those rate cuts now, right? And we'll see that on the euro dollar as well. All right. So that is their oil rebounds. WTI crude futures rebounded to $62 per barrel on Wednesday as hopes for renewed U.S.-China trade talks offset bearish supply and demand signals. China signals it's open to negotiation, but wants key changes from Washington, including more respect for rhetoric and a clear negotiator with Trump's backing. This raised optimism for easing trade tensions, supporting oil prices. However, the IEA cuts in 2024 global demand forecast, warning of potential supply glut through 2026. I mean, we're going to be oversupplied, right? And we'll see that through 2026. OPEC Plus output has risen faster than expected, and progress in U.S.-Iran nuclear talks could boost Iranian crude exports. Meanwhile, API data showed 2.4 million barrel build in the U.S. crude inventories last week, defying expectations of a 1.68 million barrel draw. So still declines at crushing and fuel stockpiles, helping to cushion the blow. So, right, the expectation is to have oversupply through 2026, hoping that the U.S. and Iran can iron out some things, but also hoping that the U.S. and China can actually have a conversation. Okay, we'll see if any or all of those things happen. We'll keep we'll keep that top of mind. China being one of the biggest ones, just because they're the largest consumer, right? So we'll watch that. And that's it from trading economics. Over to the calendar. Get updated numbers for this morning. Here we go. It was yesterday, right? There's a CPI number coming out of the UK. So today, remember, we got core retail sales for the United States, and we got a rate statement for the Bank of Canada. Okay. So we'll watch that and see how things go. Expectation is for them to hold the rate steady. All right. Expectation is to hold the rate steady. So we'll watch and see, and then see what the conversation is afterwards at 10:30. Got FOMC members coming to the microphone. You also got Chairman Powell speaking at 1:30 regarding the economy. So we'll see what he has to say. And we got CPI coming out of New Zealand tonight, along with employment change and unemployment rate for the Aussie. All right. So that's where we are from a fundamental perspective. Benny, good morning, bro.
Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
I am doing well, man. How about yourself?
Oh man, doing pretty good. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Awesome. What's top of mind for you today, bro? Anything?
Just continue to watch this trade war play out with China. China's holding firm,
Yes.
holding
Yes,
firm,
they are.
operating around and outside of the United States. You know,
Yes, they
um,
are.
I think that when you look at how everything is, playing out now, you know, it was a big mistake for Donald Trump to withdraw from the Trans-Pacific Partnership that Obama was working out for the United States to lead the way with that. Right.
Talk to us a little
So
bit more about that.
so that was the partnership with it was originally like 12 countries. I think it was like Australia, was it Canada was a part of it, Chile, Japan, Malaysia, Mexico, New Zealand, Peru, Singapore, was Vietnam as well, you know, and Obama had drew that up to where the United States was going to lead the way because he knows that that region of the world was fast developing, and he was like, "Why? It's developing anyway, right? The
Hmm.
economies are emerging. Want the United States lead the way?" But when Trump came in to power the first time, he withdrew the United States out of the TPP. But 11, the other countries remained in it. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, the United Kingdom recently joined, right? The the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And so when you look at now how China, is trying to say, hey, trying to do business, with these other countries in that region, I think it's going to come back to haunt the United States because China is holding firm. Like, well, forget it. We've been around 5,000 years. We were in existence before the United States was even the United States. Like, we don't need you. It is what it is. And so I think that a lot of these countries that the United States, I mean that China is trying to form allegiance with, you know, are directly tied to that Trans-Pacific Partnership, where the United States, like Obama said, this is going to happen anyway. These countries are going to develop. These economies are going to emerge. You know, when you hear emerging markets, like these countries are going to make the come up. You want the United States to be at the forefront to writing the rules to make sure that we benefit from it. Well, Donald Trump, on his first term, withdrew the United States from that leadership role, got out of it, backed out of it. And as we
Mm.
look and we move forward, look at what's going on now. So I think I think it's just another dumb decision on top of many, that that
Yeah.
he's made that for some reason people continue to choose to overlook or give him passes on, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I just think things are coming full circle.
Well, that they are. That they are. Um, we'll we'll see where things go. That's really all I can say because it's all up in the air. It's all up in the air, man.
It
I
is.
appreciate you.
Yeah. No doubt, man.
Appreciate you. I'm gonna research that Trans-Pacific Partnership some more. Um, that might be a good blog post. Um, talk about reality TV. Yeah, yeah. It's definitely coming full circle, man. And as Ray Dalio said, we're in the middle of um, a complete breakdown of the monetary system, which is on target with everything that he's been talking about for quite some time. Um, in this civil war phase of the large cycle. So yeah, and it all leads into that transition with China holding firm, operating outside of the United States. Um, Cash starting to flow elsewhere, right? You started talking about this a little bit on Saturday with the United States um being removed as that reserve currency. So um that's where we are, good people, right? Changes are coming, and we're in a space where we can be aware of those things and take advantage of them, right? As we continue to expand our knowledge through these interesting times that we're living in, right? So, questions or anything else to bring to the table from a fundamental perspective? No. All right. Well, being so, dollar. We're looking at the dollar yesterday, and we're looking at the dollar today, and ultimately we're in similar spot, right? Pushed up a little bit yesterday. We're pushing down today. This is that consolidation that we talked about. Okay. So we're just hovering sideways at this support level, 99,203. And question is, do we break that level now, or do we get a retracement first and then break that level to the downside? Okay. So watching the support level to see if it holds or see if we push down into this 118 and 127 zone in line with that 97,665 level, then get that retracement to a high price and then get short again. Okay. So watching that there on the dollar from a 4 hour perspective, you see it continue just to slide sideways, right? So that stochastic is coming out of that sell zone that we looked at yesterday. And so we might get this consolidation to hold here if we get that stochastic down in the buy zone and this level holds with that alignment on the daily, that could give us that retracement off that big boundary. Okay, so we'll watch it and we'll see where things go. That 118 and 127 zone is in a similar spot on the daily as well. So we'll watch to see where we get the breakout. Okay. Um, Ichimoku Cloud. There we go. Okay. We'll see where we get the break. Do we get it to the downside first and then the reversal, or do we get the trend line break to the upside and that retracement? Okay. All right. To the outermost point of that consolidation. Now we'll watch and see. Okay. Watch and see. All right. So that's the DXY. Um, Nat gas is slowly sliding to the downside. Right, we talked about it yesterday. See if we can push down to this 118, 127 zone in line with that that up trend line, slowly making its way. We'll see if we get that move. That's on the 1 hour. On the daily, right? This is what we're looking at here, and that deeper push into that capital fib zone. I got a bunch there, but right there, right? Deeper push into the zone and see if we get consolidation there. So slowly still moving to the downside. You still got that stochastic in the buy zone on the daily. right? Didn't get to the 382 on the 4, okay? But we could hit that D extension first, right? As we slide down. So that's where we are on that gas. Just a quick look through those charts. We'll see if we get D extension on the 4, 80, 20 on the daily and on the 1, and see if we get that shift back to the upside. Okay. So I won't spend too much time there. Um, this pound New Zealand, we talked about the 80-20, right? We're starting to push out of that zone now. Okay. So that one is in play. We got a stochastic in the sell zone right now. So look for a pullback and then continuation to the upside here. Okay. At least getting us to a high price, depending on what happens with the UK, right? Expecting rate cuts. But as we get to this high price, we'll see where we are from a fundamental perspective. Okay. So 80-20 on the pound New Zealand. Let's come over to these CADs and take a look at these Canadian dollar pairs. We know that the Aussie CAD had a nice run to the upside, and we talked about it potentially pushing a little bit higher. So here we are on the daily, pushing into that zone that we had our eyes on. Stochastic in the sell zone now. All right, we got rate statement later today. Does that cause at least a retracement to come? Okay. Strong move to the upside, no pullbacks happening. Do we get a pullback and then a continuation long? We shall see. All right, on the 4, we got a little flip-flop here. A deep retracement there, right? Into the zone, 786 retracement right now. All right, those stochastic is pushing down into the buy zone, right? But we got this, what we talked about yesterday. We got that cloud break, right? So that's what has me leaning toward a pullback and a continuation. Okay. So we'll watch this as we move through the morning and see how things transpire after the press conference. Okay. But deep retracement there, so we'll watch it and see either it'll be a pullback and a continuation, or we'll run to the match and extension. Right. So keep your eyes on this Aussie CAD. On the 1, we're sitting at a B boundary. Okay. Sitting at a B boundary. Could push into the 118 and 127 zone. Right. So we'll watch it here and see how things play out. Okay. So that's the Aussie CAD. We went over it kind of in depth yesterday, so I won't spend a ton of time there. But CAD Swiss, we're making new lows, new all-time lows, right? Um, so we're likely headed to 46 cents, okay, on this CAD Swiss. Might get some pullbacks, but that's a no-go there. Um, we're and this is on the monthly time frame. Likely headed to this D extension at 46,090. Okay. That was a key break. And you see where we are right now, right? Um, and with the snare with the tariffs and such, I don't know that this changes. Okay. Um, you see there, right? 2 weeks down below, we broke it, we retested it, and we continued. Okay. So could get a pullback to retest again, but I'm looking at continuations to the downside on this CAD Swiss. Okay. So any pullbacks to high prices, I'm looking to get short here. All right. We come down to the daily. This is a manual fib that was drawn in, and you see 382, and we're pushing down, matching the extension 55,830. Right. So with these strong moves down, I'm just looking for pullbacks and continuations. You see that stochastic coming out of the buy zone there. All right. So that could lead us into today where we get that retracement to come. Yeah, Joy, it is time for the fib to close. That's for sure. Uh, pullbacks and continuations. Okay, so as we come down on the 4, we've already had a deep retracement here, 50%, right? Strong move down. We'll see if we come back into this zone here around 60 cents. Uh, take these out. See if we come back into the zone around 60 cents. Before we can continue to the downside. Okay. Uh, down to the 1. Here we are here. All right. We had a retracement here as well. And move all these extra lines. Um, there we go. All right. So headed down. Okay. That's our key level. Consolidating right now, just shy of the D extension. Um, depending on how things go today, we might get a reaction like this over time, not immediate, not all at once, but and then see that continuation to the downside there. Okay, so that's where we're on the Cats was. This one is in. I was intrigued by seeing it break that level, and in where we are, I see it continuing. Right, continue seeing that safe haven demand, and seeing this continue to move to the downside. Okay. Questions on the Cat Swiss? All right, all right. Caddy in. We're just hovering at this level right now, right? We'll come in on the daily and take a look. Capital fib, we got to a 618 retracement. I got sub fibs running on this, looking to see where we are. But overall, we're headed down. Um, I'm intrigued here to see we got a double bottom here, right? 3 touches at this level, not able to break through. Um, do we see prices come back a little bit? I'm not sure. We could, similar to that Swiss. Um, we could. So we'll watch and see if we see some retracements here at this level. So that this third time, not able to break it. Got some stronger reactions to the upside here. So um, another one that I'm just keeping my eyes on. Nah, I don't have any positions in, and I don't necessarily have intentions on it anytime soon, but just looking to see, right? If we get a retracement to a high price, could give us some potential. If we break, then I'd be looking for a retest and a continuation short, right? Those are my if then scenarios. So we come down to the 4, right? We've already got the deep retracement there. But you see the reaction, right? You see the cloud moving through price. You see it bouncing back and forth. You see we're trying to turn over here and push to the upside. Stochastic in the buy zone. Boom. Okay. So we'll keep our eyes on it and see how things go. All right. Stochastic in the buy zone give us that look of the move back to the upside, at least in the short term. Okay. On the 1, just choppy. Just choppy. right? So nothing doing, just sitting, watching, and waiting. Can we get a breakout in one direction or the other? There's your trend line to the downside, and this is our range. So that's it. That's it on the CAD yen. Not a ton. Uh, that's impressive to me right now. Questions on the CAD yen? No. All right, give me 1 second. All right. All right. So that's the CAD yen. Euro CAD. Been on the tear to the upside, right? With the strength in the euro, things changing there. Um, yeah, a little bit joy. That pound yen might get some different action. We'll take a look at it too, but all of them are just bouncing around right now. Especially with Japan, having a pretty big hit on the tariffs. Um, it'll be interesting to see kind of how things move forward, but still getting that support from the safe haven demand. So that one could also kind of stay choppy too. And we'll see what happens with the rate cuts coming out of the UK. Um, pushing to a key level here, right? Push back into a key level. It's on the monthly time frame. We got to 382, so that matching extension is at 164. So what I'm looking for on this one, ultimately, when we get down to the lower time frames, is pullbacks and continuations. Kind of similar trend, right? Something like that, right? Broke a key level, come back, retest that level, and then continue to the upside. So as we move through weekly time frame, I can remove that. That's may not be likely, but as we move through, right, key level, can we get that retracement? Okay, that action down, retest 151, and then continue long. So on a daily, what does that look like? Looks like us getting a 382 push here on this fib. Okay, coming back down, retesting this area that we broke out of, and then moving back to the upside. All right. Be nice for us to get a deeper retracement on that, but we may just get something back into the zone where we had multiple levels of resistance here. Okay. Um, so that's what I'm looking for on this. Looking like that. Okay. So on the 4, yeah, then we got choppy at the end. So not much there. Okay. Not much there. Let's see. Just looking to see if I had a larger fib on this. Yeah, nope. No larger. So we're sitting there. Okay, so not a ton doing there either on the 4. Stochastic in the sell zone will come down to the 1. We'll run the fib off the lows here. Right, so choppy across the board, but no, you didn't. I can go back and look at it, Reese. Um, choppy across the board, but from a higher time frame, it's a little bit clearer. Like I said, looking for those pullbacks and continuations from the weekly and monthly levels. Looking to see if we get that retracement to come back and retest that zone. So lower time frame, super choppy as it bounces back and forth. We'll see if we get some clarity today on that short-term direction. Okay, questions on the choppy Euro CAD?
Nope.
Cool beans. Reach the Aussie dollar. Um, daily time frame, crazy run to the upside, stochastic in the sell zone. Do we get a retracement for continuation? All right. If we get a retracement on the dollar, we could see this retracement come here. Okay. Um, so watching it from that perspective could set us up for a head and shoulder type pattern. If we get a nice retracement back to this previous support level at 68.74, we'll see. Okay, it come down to the 4, right? Similar story. There's your capital fib there. Um, I don't have a sub fib running here. I have it running on the 1. But stochastic down into the buy zone here as we start to get some consolidation. We have Jerome Powell speaking later today. We'll see if that gives us a catalyst. Retail sales also today. See if that moves the market at all in this retracement that we could potentially get for the dollar. And then we'll see where price moves from there. All right. So as we come down to the 1, we got an 80-20 here. Okay. Fibs running off the low. Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone. We're getting that consolidation, right? Just as we saw on the DXY, right? So looking for a move down, that retracement, getting us back into that zone, and then see if we get that continuation long, right? So if we get the retracement on the dollar, we get a retracement on this Aussie dollar in the same fashion. Okay, so that's on the 1 hour, 80-20 there. And then on the on the 30-minute, respot at 80-20 here as well. Oops. Boom. Okay. Consolidating in that zone. So again, looking for pullbacks and continuations. Bam. Appreciate you, Reese. Got some sevens in the chat for Reese. 80-20s, multiple time frames on that Aussie dollar. Okay. Questions here? Oh, right. Did EuroCAD, pound CAD. So this one kind of did what we expected it to do, right? Got a nice break of that key level, came back and retested that area, and now we're moving back to the upside. So this will be interesting to see how things move. Stochastic still pushing to the upside. Interested to see how things go with the Bank of Canada, and then next month with the Bank of England. But right now, pushing to the upside. Okay, pushing to the upside. Expect more of that to continue. But we could see a pullback and a continuation to the upside. But looking for price to continue moving along here on this pound CAD, as has been for quite some time. right? We got a beautiful retracement here. That continuation, we got back to this 382 level, and now we're trying to make our way to the matching extension 192. Okay. Um, gotcha. Yeah, a lot of those dollar pairs are setting up like that because of the potential retracement on that dollar. Yeah, we'll take a look at it though. Appreciate it. We come down to the 4, and it's just choppy, right? Took out the A there. We broke this cloud and we're bullish ahead. So we'll see how things go. Not much doing right here at the end. Wait on the swing how to form there. So not a ton to see on the 4 on the pound CAD. All right. Kind of choppy there. So we come down to the 1 and we got an AB boundary, right? Setting up that retracement. Get a pullback and then continuation to the upside. So on this one, we'll be waiting for a low price. Come back, retest that cloud. Come back, retest the cloud, and then see if we settle in for a price continue moving along. Questions on the pound cap? Eighty 20 on the 30. Great work, JC. JC back in the building, finding opportunities. Great work. Drop the sevens in the chat for JC. All right, 80 20 on the pound cat on the 30. Setting up that retracement. All right. Get us back to a low price with opportunity then to get back low. Okay. All right. Questions on the pound CAD? Nope. All right. Cool deal. We'll look at the pound yen and then we'll look at the dollar yen. So on a monthly time frame, we got this Gartley set up. All right. It's choppy right now, so I'm curious to see, do we finish out, right? So this would be your fib off the low, off that last leg like that, right? So I'm curious to see where we go, right? Do we get the push into the 118 to 127 zone, which extends that last leg a little bit, right? Into that 118 level, and then the retracement, or do we just get a breakdown from here and continue moving south? Okay, so I'm watching that to see which direction we go. All right, we're sitting at a 236 right now. Um, uh, so just got this consolidation happening right now. Been there for quite some time. So we'll watch that from a larger perspective. But we come down to the lower time frames. We're sitting at an 8-6 retracement, trying to push out of these levels. So cash are coming out of that buy zone. So this one I don't have any positions on because it's been back and forth. Um, so I'm just monitoring this as it goes, but looking for price to potentially come back into this range, and then we'll see where we are fundamentally and see if anything changes. Take that out, and we can take that out. Boom. Right. So resistance there. Do we come back and retest this area? And then do we get another breakdown? Okay. Coming down to the 4, we took out the A, take that out, clean this up a bit. move that down to the low. There we go. Okay, so strong breakdown back below the cloud. All right, we're watching this area. We push deep into that zone. So I'm curious to see if we move back to the top of this, range. Um, um, but things are all over the place right now. So we shall see what transpires here. Okay. Um, but could come back at least to 195, 967, and then we could see another breakdown from there. All right. So sitting back watching this, seeing if we get a breakout to the upside at all. Okay. We come back to the one, got a nice strong shift here. Strong push, pullback, and we're trying to continue this move to the upside here, right? So if we take out that A, we'll have a nice motion to the upside, right? And got a 618 retracement on that up fib, matching the extension 193. So that kind of puts us in that direction of where I'm talking about 195 area. But we need to see more upward momentum to get there. Okay. Um, so that's where we are on this. We got a cloud break there. Um, So we'll continue to monitor it. We could see continue, excuse me, we could see continue move to the upside in the short term, and then ultimately getting a breakdown. So not a ton doing for me on this pound yen. Questions? Nope. All right. Cool deal. That dollar yen daily time frame perspective, right? We got a 50% retracement pushing to daily resistance, and we're heading south. Okay. This is a zone that I had my eyes on from previous, pushed right down into that zone, stochastic in the buy zone. Okay. And again, I'm looking for pullbacks and continuations, right? I'm not looking for a full trend reversal just yet on the dollar. Um, I think we could get down to these like 130 area and this level of support here. Um, Potentially even lower than that, depending on how things go. But we'll see, right? But more downward momentum to come overall. Okay, we come down to the 50% retracement, stalling in this 118 zone, right? So do we get a pullback of some sort here? Stochastic pushing back down into that buy zone. Okay, overall trend is down, but do we get a retracement in the dollar? Okay, do we get a retracement in the dollar? Down to the one. Right? So again, we're just shy of that D extension. Got this consolidation happening here, right? Overall trend to the downside, looking for pullbacks and continuations short. Okay. Down to the 30. Rishi ran that fib off this high point here. Where'd you run your fib from, Reese? Oh, 80-20 by on the one. Yeah, we're right here. Okay. Yeah, that's a fib off the high. Right there is what Reese has his eye on. Right? Looking for a high price and then get back short, right? So let's watch this and see. Because overall that trend is down, right? From a capital fib perspective. So if we're able to get, I'd be looking for a trend line break here. Let's see, or a cloud break. Let me do this. Boom. If we get a cloud break on that, then we're on. If we stay below that cloud, that D extension is right in sight there. That's the extension on that sub fib and on that capital fib. So just watch that closely there. On this night, wait for some additional confirmation. But 80-20 nonetheless, good people. All right. So keep your eyes there on this dollar yen, right? And this kind of goes back to that analysis of the dollar, where the question is, does this level hold? All right. If we get the retracement out this B boundary, then that 80-20 on that dollar yen be in play, right? But if we break the support level here, we could see that dollar yen play push down a little bit further. So that's what I'm assessing from a broader perspective. Okay. Um, that's where we are, good people, right? Canadian dollar rate statement today, press conference. We'll see if they give any insight on trajectory. Um, additional tariff conversation. We'll see where all of that goes. All right. Benny, anything before we wrap it up, bro?
Oh man, not a lot, man. Just continue to watch and see, this trade situation play out, this trade war with China, and see how long they hold up, which doesn't seem like they plan on backing down anytime soon. But I just keep in the back of my mind that it is going to give us an opportunity for amazing low prices. I'm thinking
Yes.
generational opportunities, right? We saw Nvidia slide again today, uh, because of, I guess reporting out some of the restrictions that the U.S. has placed on them for in regards to chips distribution and stuff like that.
Yes.
So um, that stuff I'm willing to wait on. Since I didn't get short with a lot of equities, I decided to wait just because I didn't, I just felt uncertain, right? Um, I'm forced to sit on the sideline and wait for those low prices right now. You know, are there some shorter term plays? Yes, right. Those are the things that we're evaluating this morning. But as far as like long term and a generational opportunity to buy, really good solid companies at low prices, I'm just sitting back and waiting. That's it.
I'm in agreement with you, bro. That situation with Nvidia, there's some of their lower level chips, and they were saying they got quite a few of them that they might end up taking a loss on.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. So I'm with you though, man. This is going to set us up in a beautiful way to set our families up for a long time to come.
Right. Exactly. Because I know that's what the big players are doing.
Yep.
So I'm gonna do what they do.
Facts.
Period. So keep your eye on good prices. Build your list of companies that you think you want to invest in, and sit back and wait.
That's it. That's it. Questions from anybody before we wrap things up for the day? No. I know, Jeremy. You just got in, man. You just got in. I'll drop the replay
Yeah,
in the chat for you.
how you
You
doing
doing all
though?
right, man?
Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well.
Awesome.
Doing well. All right, good people. You guys have a phenomenal Wednesday. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for this pre-New York session with my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. We'll talk then. Peace.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Come on, big girl.